Café Anyway. Hello there, it's Mike. Okay.
It's Mike's Daily Podcast.
With your host, Mike OK. No, it's Mike Matthews. Slightly a less interesting name.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
And it's episode 2782. How are you? I'm getting on a plane and flying to Las Vegas. No, wait, Los Angeles, something. I don't know. You may be going there as well, but I don't know. We'll probably not meet. It's that kind of thing. It's podcasting. It's sweet. And people all over the world are podcasting. The whole world, even you are podcasting.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Because if you do a Zoom call, you're doing a type of podcast, especially if you record it and
Mike's
upload it
Daily
for other people to see.
Podcast.
As exciting as that is,
Yeah.
I am very, very unhappy with how lax people are. They don't care. Once upon a time, if you had a camera, everybody had let me put on some makeup. Let me comb my hair. Let me put on a different shirt. Now just, whatever. Let's do this Zoom call. Ridiculous. But that's okay. It just shows we've gone into the Andy Warhol world where everyone has fame for 15 minutes. And then we've gone beyond that. We've broken through. And now we're in a TikTok world where it's all video oriented. Once upon a time, people were, I'll write something down and post it. And then it became, I'll take a picture and I'll post it. And then people got inventive and they made little videos, and it's a video world. And video killed the posting star, the posting person, the blogger. And that's where we are now. Let's see, last show, we spoke with Shelley Schuhart, didn't we? And Floyd the Floorman. John Deere the engineer too. That means we might see Benita and the Brewmaster and the Disgruntled Fiddle Player.
And here's today's podcast picture.
Or DFP. Hey, Rocky the Cat. Yes, Rocky you know what? My boss at work is going to come by and feed my cat while I'm gone. Isn't that a cool boss? Hey, if you have a cool boss, shout it out, Day. Say something nice about them. And the other cool thing that I just found out, the late great Basil the Boxer, who despised YouTube, he would be happy to hear as well that YouTube is allowing me to upload videos again. So I don't upload videos, but I upload the podcast, which will then use the podcast picture for the duration of the video. You see that. So it's really nothing to look at, which most podcasts that are on video now, they're nothing much to look at. Most people that record them.
Addenda with Kevin.
Especially anybody named Kevin that's doing a video. They're particularly annoying. Just kidding. No, that was a friend of mine, Kevin, who just got married. And he used to do a little thing at the end of the podcast called Addendum with Kevin. But he's been busy because he's a brewmaster now and he's managing the world and he is a manager.
This show is clean.
That's why I don't cuss. And he is doing that at Almanac Brewing. So we'll need to stop by and see him again soon. You should do that too. Hey, there was a little plug. Is there going to be a slug? No, because Kevin's cool. But here's the thing. The thing is these. If you are videoing yourself and then posting it and calling it a podcast, then you're just like everybody else, because it seems like the word podcast is no longer just an audio thing. And this is something very important, and this will really only mean anything to podcasters or people that listen to podcasts avidly, and that is this.
Woo!
Podcasts require an RSS feed. Whenever you go to the website of a podcast you like, or some of the websites that carry podcasts have this, they have that little thing that is I'm on Google Podcasts right now, even though that's going to go the way of the dodo and go into YouTube world, because they have seen that people don't even care about what's a podcast and what's a video. And I'm looking at, let's see.
Mike is on it, man.
Go where no man has gone before.
We love it, Mike.
Thank you. Are you enjoying where we're going? We're going, and I can't find. Now, I used to see these everywhere. It must be on my website somewhere. If we go to, let's say, SoundCloud, that still exists, doesn't it? SoundCloud. And you want to get the RSS feed for Mike's Daily Podcast. Let's see, I think you have to go to the share button. That's usually where you find things that share, that looks like an arrow that's drunk, that's flying around. Or it's a square with an arrow.
This is Mike's Podcast Picnic.
Well, as we sit down and I open up this basket and pull out some delicious foods, maybe some brie. I was told over the weekend, you're not supposed to eat that skin in the brie. You're supposed to scoop out that fleshy cheese inside. No way! That is not how it works, everybody. No, probably you shouldn't eat that stuff. But when I eat it, it reminds me of
that. I got into it.
I know you will get through it at some point. It's very thick, and I don't know if it ever gets digested. That skin on the brie. But it reminds me of Mom. That's all I can say. It reminds me of my mom, because whenever I would go visit her in Florida, my late mom used to put out some brie and some grapes, make it feel all European and whatnot. And so now when I eat the skin on brie, I think of my mom. And she never corrected me,
When you are a man, sometimes you wear stretchy pants.
Thankfully, yes. And I have worn stretchy pants, and it was not a good idea. I don't like it. I'm a shorts guy. Why is it so many men just love to wear shorts? We love shorts. Because it airs everything out. I don't know. Cafe, I don't know. But it is oh so relaxing. As we go outside of Café Anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth. I'm about to get on a plane. I'll be flying to Los Angeles. I'm going to see a lot of the area that I grew up in. A lot of the area that, speaking of my late mom, I spent a lot of time with her at. It looks like the podcast RSS feed thing. When you see it on a website, it looks like a little tiny dot with like radio waves coming out of it at Café Anyway. Just set my description, and it goes off into the. I think it goes up from lower left to upper right type thing. Okay, that's an RSS feed, and typically, historically, that's what podcasts came from. But now it looks like anybody can do a podcast. Anybody can do anything. It's wide open spaces. I think Mike has even bought Bitcoin. That's how crazy things have got. Yes, in an ETF.
People get stuck on stupid. You know what I mean?
You're probably right. I am a little bit worried about it, but I guess it's doing well at the moment. So, hey, it's all fun and games until somebody breaks something, right? So that's what I would stand corrected if I was wrong. But anyway, Café Anyway, we're in a video world. Everybody's videoing things or watching things or just being this and that, like
MTV News. You hear it first.
And remember, that was a channel that just inundated you with stimuli. It was all the time. It was something in your face, catching your eyeball, making it so you couldn't turn away. And then eventually the internet grew up and became available to all of us at no price whatsoever, no entry fee. And now that internet is on our phones with the apps, and we can have that access.
Fabagoo, things to do.
And Fabagoo is what we do. Actually, that was somebody I knew had a website called fabagoo.com, and it was where he posted events that were going on in the Bay Area. But then along came apps, and it became so easy. Hey, if I want to know what's going on, I just have an app for that. Or I can just do a quick search on a screen. I think all these people in a browser on your phone is what I was trying to say. There's the ones like the Microsoft Edge and the Chrome. And does Apple still have Safari? But what it is at one point, I knew some other podcasters and they were like, yeah, man, I've got an app. I've got an app for my podcast. I'm so cool. Well, then they didn't realize that that's going to cost them a lot more than having a website. And that they have to have it updated constantly because the internet and the app world and the app access to the internet is constantly changing, needs constant updates.
You will travel into the incredible universe.
Because there are all kinds of security risks. You got to be careful. So I know a lot of people that started apps and now you try and download their app, it does not work. It did not progress with all the different iOS systems or the operating systems for the Android, for the iPhone. Nothing updated, or they couldn't keep up with all the updates, and it kept costing them more and more money because of Apple and Google charged them. At any rate, what we're saying is we talked a little bit about TikTok and how it might be having some tough times ahead. Although the Senate voting on that bill looks not like it's a slam dunk. Because it is run by the Democrats, and there are a lot of Democrats that want to stand up for TikTok. Because they know a lot of young people are on TikTok, a lot of their constituents, and they know there's a lot of Trump haters on TikTok, so they want to keep it going. But oh, by the way, I was on a conservative radio show that's going to play back in the Bay Area on 860 AM. I'm going to just show up on The Answer like towards the end of the 11 o'clock hour this Sunday. I'm not going to say anything.
The Royal Trump Tweet Decree.
I'm not going to say anything pro or anti-Biden or Trump, but I am going to talk a little bit about an interesting story that happened to my lovely lady friend. And then the host, and it has to do with 9/11, the host goes into a very interesting story about what happened to him on 9/11 that I never heard him say before. So you will hear that in the Bay Area on that radio station. But so the electric vehicle is having problems. Not only is TikTok having issues, but Ford, General Motors, Mercedes-Benz, Volkswagen, Jaguar, Land Rover, and Aston Martin are scaling back or delaying their electric vehicle plans. And all I can tell you is, as someone that is the operations manager for a couple of AM radio stations, I couldn't be happier. Because these electric vehicles, they say, oh, we can't pick up AM radio stations because of the electricity, the electric engine, blah, blah, blah. AM radios.
Welsh on the World.
And you can ask Welsh on the World about this. AM radios have been in cars for decades. And what do cars have? Batteries. There's an electric system in the car, and it can pick up AM radio just fine. So people like Tesla were trying to say, I can't put an AM radio in here. The guy has SpaceX. He shoots spaceships up in the air, and they sometimes stay up there. I don't know. They usually fall back down or blow up. But, you know, that's what they do. Tesla, they come up with solutions, and they can't come up with that solution because, I don't know, it's too old-timey for Mr. Musk, I guess. Even though most AM radio is pretty right-wing, and they love Elon Musk these days. So I don't get that contradiction. But
pretty much.
Automakers wanted to emulate Tesla's success, but the buzz is wearing off. Tesla is having some tough times. EV leader, that's an electric vehicle, Tesla said that 55% of their EV sales in 2023 it's bracing for what Elon Musk says may be a notably lower rate of growth. And hybrid and plug-in hybrids seem to be in the sweet spot to meet tighter federal standards for carbon emissions. So the U.S. EV sales were 1.2 million last year, representing 7.6% of the overall national market. And that's the name of my band, Overall National Market. Hope you enjoy that. It's my little band's mutation segment. That share of EVs is expected to grow to 30% and 39% by the end of the decade. The available inventory of electric vehicles has ballooned to 136 days. Oh yeah, and they don't put cassette players in these electric vehicles either. That's a shame. With all the cassettes I have in my cubbyhole. The cassette cubbyhole. Yeah, so you've got about 136 days of available inventory for EVs. That compared to the overall U.S. industry at a 78-day supply of new vehicles. The Biden administration is targeting for half of new U.S. vehicle sales to be electric by the year 2030. And if you think that's far away, it's just 6 years. Overestimated the willingness of consumers to adopt the electric vehicle. Because you got to have your little charger set up. You got a flying saucer in your garage already, so you don't have room for that. You know, I saw where I bought my car during the pandemic for $10,000, and that's probably the last chance buying a used car for $10,000 that had relatively low miles on it. I saw that they were selling a Chevy Volt, and it was a pretty low price, and I thought it had low miles.
You know, there's a real scary holiday coming up.
St. Patrick's Day, oh my gosh. It's sneaking up on us. And then it'll be Good Friday, and then Easter's, and then the rest. So what I found, though, was I'm not going to put in a charger in my house. Sorry, a tree just fell on me. I avoided it. But if a tree falls on Mike's Daily Podcast, does anyone hear it? Because does anyone hear this podcast? I don't know. Cafe, I don't know. Café Anyway. So these are things we're all dealing with. Even my friend Jarrell. I mean, is this something do we have the money to pay for? Does the neighborhood have the grid capability to have all that electricity pumping through it? I know my neighborhood went down, had a power outage. This was around the time of the pandemic. Don't forget, in the Bay Area, we had it really bad because not only we had to wear masks if we wanted to go outside, but then also there was all these fires happening in 2020, and you couldn't breathe because the air was just so awful. And then all of a sudden the power went out because someone was installing a Tesla charger in their garage. Now on from one side of the wonderful Bay Area to another, Amazon. Wait, Amazon's not in the Bay Area. Well, they got a lot of those fulfillment centers in the Bay Area. But Eli Lilly says that Amazon Pharmacy will send certain prescription drugs, including the red-hot weight loss treatment Zepbound, to patients through Amazon. You can now connect with your doctor or Amazon's telehealth company, One Medical, and that can prescribe certain drugs. That eliminates the need to go to the doctor for a prescription, in some cases to a pharmacy to fill it. That is huge. And I got this from Rob Black, and I produce his podcast, and he's thinking about finding someone else to do his podcast because he's found out like an AI service can do what I'm doing. That makes me feel good. But you can hear a show on AM 1220 KDOW in the 6 a.m. hour, Monday through Friday, as well as the 8 a.m. hour. And then Monday through Thursday, he's on Cron TV in the 9 o'clock hour. But he said, personally, I don't like going to doctor's office and waiting, so this is a better customer service. Along with home delivery, Amazon Pharmacy offers 24/7 access to clinical pharmacies as well. Prescriptions like generic Viagra and Propecia can now be done via telehealth. So that has changed. And Realtor.com adds climate change risk features. 40% of U.S. homes now show risks of heat, wind, and air quality. They are under threat by extreme heat, extreme wind, like tornadoes, hurricanes, and then the air quality going bad. You can find that all out on Realtor.com. Oh, hey, look, Nilly's here. Look who else. Hi, Mark. It's Benita the Rodeo Queen. How are you? I'm doing all right, my horse, Nilly. That's a disgruntled fiddle player. Tell you what. What? Realtor.com is spreading lies. There's no such thing as climate change. And they could just go away like TikTok for all I care. Tell you what. What? TikTok's a mess. 60 million U.S. homes are currently vulnerable to climate disasters. That's a bunch of bunk. And Americans spend more on streaming each month than they are doing on gas. Yes, for streaming video services, they're spending about $120 a month versus $113 per month spending on gas. I remember once upon a time, we say streaming. I remember somebody who was the owner of a huge radio conglomerate company, world nationwide chain, that said streaming, we don't call it streaming because that sounds like something you do in the bathroom if you're a guy. That's what he said, the head of this huge company. Oh, speaking of which, that's someone pouring root beer. Hello, Mike. I make the delicious root beer. How's it right now? I'm the brewmaster. Thank you. I'll have some. Oh, that's delicious. You know what? I bet I know what's in there. I bet that's root beer, I'm hoping. Yeah, okay, it is. Drink it right now, cut you. Oh, have a great trip. Thank you. The average Social Security benefit in 2024, benefit for retired workers, comes in at just $1,907. Or that is $22,900 per year. The average salary is around $61,264. It is? Wow, I'm being shortchanged. Hey, but I enjoy the job that I talked about earlier that I told you that I did. The House did pass that ban, or what could lead to a TikTok ban. And this fight then shifts to the Senate, and President Joe Biden may lose his official TikTok account that he started in February, which I was telling you about 2 podcasts ago, about how embarrassing it is. Oh, I think it was the last podcast, about how he did some embarrassing videos on it around the time of the Super Bowl. But he says he will sign that bill. He will be gladly banning TikTok, even though Trump says he'd rather ban Zuckerberg. So that is all continuing to happen in this crazy, crazy world in which we live, which I hope is slightly less crazy or an enjoyable type of crazy, because you need a little bit of crazy in your life to laugh and make you call me.
Call Mike at the Café Anyway hotline. Area code 510-228-4640.
That is the number, and I hope the laundry is almost done, because I need clean clothes for my trip to Los Angeles, which I hope to tell you all about in the next podcast. And with other ways to reach me, why, here's A-Frame to tell you.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com.
Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye!